Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video I'm going to be talking about my battle plan for the London Marathon. For those that are not familiar or have not watched my videos for a while, I got a charity space for the London Marathon this year. I am running for CROHN'S and COLITIS. It is a charity that is very near and dear to my heart because my dad suffers from Crohn's. If you want a sort of backstory, I'll leave a card up here for you to go and check out the video where I announced that I was running the London Marathon. But yeah, this video is basically going to be me talking about my training plans for the marathon. The reason why I say plans is because I am currently in the midst of a base training plan for the marathon, and I will be jumping into a 16-week marathon training plan after this. So I had 24 weeks at the time that I started my base training plan. I started my base training plan 2 weeks ago. So the base training plan is 8 weeks, and then I will jump into a 16-week training plan for the marathon. So I'll jump into that marathon training plan on the, I think it's the 13th of June. I'll leave it up here if I've got the date wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the 13th of June. And that will be 16 weeks in the lead up to the 2nd of October, which is when the London Marathon is. So I've been doing a base training plan. I got it from the Women's Running magazine. They did a marathon issue last month, and I'd sort of picked up the magazine just to have a look through, see if it had any sort of valuable information in there. I had looked at some training plans online and things like that, but I was just sort of going to wing it with marathon training plan, like base building, and then this came up, so I've just decided to use this as a sort of template, if you will. Most of the runs in the intermediate training plan for base building, it does have an advanced, but I am not advanced, so I'm going with the intermediate. They didn't have a beginner, and I don't think I'm at the point where I'm at a beginner training plan anyway, so I've just gone with this, and the runs that are in here seem to be sort of the level that I was at the start. So in this training plan, it's got the runs in they're time-based basically, and in no training plan that I've done in the past have I ever used time as a sort of judge for the runs that I will do, so I'm not going to continue that. I'm going to stick with the trend that I usually do, and that is to do all my runs in mileage. So basic premise for how I've changed it is that when it says to do a 30-minute run, I'm going to be doing a 3-mile run instead. When it says to do a 45-minute run, it's going to be a 4.5-mile run. The reason why I swapped from just following the plan as it is because in the time that they've set, I wouldn't run very much based off the pace that I'm doing at the moment, and I felt like I wouldn't have built a big enough base in the lead up to jumping into a actual marathon training plan. Most of the marathon training plans I've seen are all in mileage rather than time, and yeah, if I was to base it on time based on this plan here, I wouldn't be at a good enough level jumping into a marathon training plan, so I'm doing it off mileage. So I will leave a digital little screenshot here of how I've pulled in the plan and sort of put in my runs. I used to be doing 3 runs a week. I now jump into 4 runs a week just because that's what most of the training plans have. I know I could do less than that, but I'm just going to stick to the amount of runs that the training plans tell me to do, just so that I'm doing it properly and I'm not skipping out or missing out or doing anything or hindering my sort of progress, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to be doing 4 runs a week instead of 3, and I'm going to try and fit in 1 or 2 strength training days each week. I'm going to pick a guide from the Tone and Sculpt app. Melissa, I can't pronounce her last name, I think it's Kentender. She is one of the coaches on the Tone and Sculpt app, and she does marathons herself, and her guide is based off sort of implementing runs around that, so I do think I'm going to go with her guide just because I think it complements running really well. So I'm going to be doing strength training at least twice a week, and then doing runs 4 times a week. So the basis for the training plan is that I do 3 shorter runs throughout the week, and then I use a day a week to do a long run at the weekend. these training plans have Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday as the run days. I'm going to be switching those up because they don't go with my plan or how I can fit them into my schedule. So I'm going to be doing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Saturday. The reason why I've picked Saturday instead of Sunday is because I'm going to try and do parkrun sandwich. So I'm either going to run part of the way to parkrun, do parkrun and then run part of after parkrun to basically make up the long run distance, or I will walk to parkrun because it is quite a distance to walk from the car park to parkrun. I will then do parkrun and then use the time afterwards to finish off the rest of my long run round Rutland Water. That seems to be the best option that I can think of, rather than, because I didn't know, because I've not done a marathon training plan before, I'm not really sure on what is best practice, what is good and what isn't. So I didn't know whether if I did for instance, a Wednesday and Thursday run and then did a Saturday park run and a long run on Sunday, whether doing a park run the day before a long run was good or not. If you're a runner, if you run marathons and things like that, let me know if that is something that you can do, because yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to stick to the parkrun sandwich for now, but it would be nice to know whether doing parkrun the day before a long run is good or not, because I'm not sure and I don't want it to sort of hinder my training at all. So yeah, for now I'm going to stick to the schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and then Saturday, so that I'll have Tuesday and Tuesday, Friday and Sunday as off days, which will then be where I do my strength training or have a rest day. So the basis for the base training is that on runs 1 and 2 every week for the next 8 weeks are 3-mile runs, and the third run of the week will flip between a 3-mile run and a 4.5-mile run, depending on the week of the plan. I'll have it somewhere here so you can actually see it and you can pause and have a look and do whatever you want. And then Sunday's run will build up from 4.5 miles to an 8-mile run. I don't think that is unrealistic in the grand scheme of things. I did Burley 7 last month, so I am familiar with sort of building up that base in the lead up to race. So I am capable of doing a 7-mile because I did it for the race, so there should be no issues in doing an 8-mile run for my base training. And that will lead on nicely into marathon training plan. Now I have 2 training plans that I'm umming and ahhing between. Obviously this is where you guys come in and you can sort of give me your opinion on which plan you think I will settle in best on. But basically I have the Women's Running Magazine, which I'll put here, and Hal Higdon's marathon training plan here. I have wrote some pros and cons and my sort of my reasons for umming and ahhing between the 2. So it's mostly with the Hal Higdon plan, which is the reason why I'm swaying towards the Women's Running Magazine plan. The Women's Running Magazine plan is 16 weeks, Hal Higdon's is 18 weeks, which means I would have to cut out 2 runs from Hal Higdon's, probably from the beginning of the plan, so I would start on week 3. But, well, yeah, I guess that would be the only thing, because I don't want to cut out a run from midway through the training plan or anything like that, because I assume that when there are long runs and then it drops down in mileage a bit and then goes back up, there is a reason for that. So I don't want to sort of mess around with the middle of the plan, so it would definitely be the first 2 weeks that I take off from the Hal Higdon's plan and then start from week 3 of his. Like I said, I'll leave both here so you can see them. The Hal Higdon's training plan does look like it tapers off sooner than the Women's Running Magazine plan. I think the Women's Running Magazine, I'll have to bring it up because so it's got 15 miles on week 4 and then 10 miles on week 5 and then the marathon in the sort of last week. On Hal Higdon's training plan, if I can bring it up, It has it's got a 20 mile run on so it's got the marathon. I'm coming back up, so it's got 8 miles rather than the 10, and 12 miles instead of 15. So yeah, it tapers down a bit sooner and has less mileage in the sort of last weeks before the marathon, which again, being a beginner marathon runner, I'm not sure whether that is advantageous or not. However, there are some big cons that I see from Hal Higdon's plan. I know that Hal Higdon's plans are very popular, so I know that they work, but they are very scary at points. As I've noted in this, there are some big jumps in mileage between weeks. So particularly on Hal Higdon's plan, he's got a jump from 10 miles to 15 miles. And that just seems like a massive jump to me when I've done training plans in the past. Obviously, this is my first marathon, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing, but I am familiar with sort of building training plans in general for like half marathons, and I would never jump 5 miles from week to week, and it seems like a lot, but maybe it isn't, based on these sort of training runs that you've already done. I'm used to sort of jumping up a mile week by week, not 5 miles, so that sort of scares me a bit, that I've got to sort of find 5 miles in my legs from one week to the next. It just seems nuts. So yeah, there is a big jump. The other thing is that the Hal Higdon's plan has longer distances midweek. I guess it's not a bad thing to have longer distances midweek, but at this moment in time I'm just not sure whether it's okay for me as a beginner. It is the novice plan, there isn't anything lower than that, so I don't really know at this point. The Women's Running magazine is for beginners, so I don't know whether I'm just leaning more towards that, because yeah, it just doesn't look as scary in the grand scheme of things. There is some like long distance runs in the Women's Running magazine midweek, but they only go up to about 8 miles, not 10, so yeah. At this present time, I am leaning towards the Women's Running magazine just because it looks like it builds up a bit more nicely, I guess. I don't really know the word for it, but it just builds up in less extreme measures than the Hal Higdon's marathon training plan. But yeah, that's the reason why I'm sort of putting it out there and asking you guys for advice on what you think that I should go for. I don't know whether to just go with my gut and go with the Women's Running magazine training plan, or whether the Hal Higdon's has worked for a lot of people. But yeah, just bear in mind that I am a beginner and I don't really have any sort of goals for the marathon other than to get round in one piece. Basically, I have no goal time or anything like that. I obviously do have a sort of time in mind based on my paces at the moment, but obviously pace can change. You will naturally slow down. I don't expect to get faster in the second half of my marathon. I expect to get slower, so I expect my paces to be slower than they are now, which means that the time may be even more than that. But for my current pace, if I was to stick at that pace the whole way around, it would be around 5.5 hours. I'm happy with that. I don't really care. Like I said, I don't really care for times. I'm not bothered if I get around in 5.5 hours. I couldn't care less if I got around in 7. However long it takes me, as long as I sort of get round, I don't really care. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing any sort of fancy runs. I know in the training plans for the Women's Running magazine, it does have some like specific runs in there. For example, I can't see it on this one because it doesn't have it on this, but I will pull up the Women's Running magazine so I can give you an example. So it does have quite a few easy pace runs in there for the most part, but then it's also got runs in there like 4 miles with 2 times 1 mile at 10k pace and 3-min jog recovery. I don't think I'm really going to bother with that. I don't think I'm going to bother with getting into sort of any intricate runs. I'm just going to be focusing on getting the mileage in my legs and time on feet, and that'll do me basically for the marathon. I'm not looking to do any fancy smancy training plans. So it's just going to be body basic mileage the whole way through, and just cracking out those runs and getting them done. Getting my 4 runs done a week, getting my 2 strength training sessions done a week, getting my adequate rest, not being stupid with it, and just getting round basically. So that is my plan, but I am open to suggestions and ideas and things like that. I will obviously update in a sort of training update in the future with what marathon training plan I decide on. It may take me a couple of weeks to decide that with your guys' input. I might just go with my gut and pick the Women's Running Magazine training plan and just go with that. But yeah, I'll let you know in due course. So I am going to continue with my base training plan at the moment, and I've got 6 weeks left of that. I've got 2 weeks left. I can't remember whether I've actually mentioned it or not, but yeah, I'm just going to be continuing with that for now, and then things will obviously jump over on the 13th of June. I don't think I have anything else to really say. I think I've covered all bases, or I've covered the bases for what I'm doing for training, so I'm going to leave it at that. As I mentioned before, I will leave my fundraising link down below. I know times are tough at the moment and people don't have as much money to sort of give to charity and things like that, but it would really help me out if you were able to give anything at all, or even just share my fundraising link on your social media platforms and things like that with other people, and maybe spread the word. And yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else to say, so I'm going to end the video here. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can always click the notification bell down below, and you'll be notified of when my videos go live. Other than that, hope you're all staying safe and well. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.